Welcome to Positive Atheism English channel. Today I am going to read out to the article on the March of Atheism written by Jim Herrick, well-known humanist and former editor of Humanist UK. The March of Atheism started thousands of years ago. The battles for atheism are still taking place now. We do not yet know how far we shall live in an atheist world in the times to come. The arguments for atheism have slowly developed and the process has been continuous but sometimes up and down. So, I will be looking at atheism yesterday, today and tomorrow. It is essential to consider our past for two reasons. Firstly, we are often wrongly told by religious believers that we are Johnny came lately thinkers, that our atheist beliefs are the fag end of human thought popping up long after the traditional religions have established themselves. Secondly, if we do not understand our past, we cannot understand our present. We need to know the ups and downs, the struggles, the successes, the triumphs, the battles of atheism to understand the atheist position in society and to appreciate what may be the story in the future. Atheism goes back to the ancient world. In fact, I suspect it goes back beyond recorded history. As soon as humans started thinking, they must have been asking questions. Although there are indications of primitive religions in the impressive cave paintings that have survived, I am sure that there would have been individuals saying to themselves, I wonder what this magic is all about. Surely the world is not like that. People would have asked, what controls our lives? Where did matter come from? Where do we come from and where are we going to? I cannot prove it, but I think that there will have been some giving skeptical answer. The ancient world. The first visible evidence of atheistic thought emerged in ancient India and Greece. In India, the Charvaka school of thought appeared in the 6th century BC. Whether it originated in a person or group of people or whether it came out of a general movement is not known. Among their ideas were the sacred literature is false, there is no deity or supernatural, there is no immortal soul, and only direct perception gives true knowledge. A Charvaka, sometimes known as Lokayata, text indicates the power of these beliefs. The fire is hot, the water cold, refreshing cool, the breeze of the morn. By whom came this variety? From their own nature was it born. There is no heaven, no final liberation, nor any soul in another world, nor do the actions of the forecast, orders, etc. produce any real effect. There is certainly, millennia ago, the clear existence of doubt, and we see that the religious do not have the monopoly of poetic statements of belief. Unbelief, I think, must have been frequently indicated by the negative evidence of the criticism of atheism. In that Hebrew book of history, myths and poetry, the Old Testament are the words, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. Thus, there is evidence that whether expressed by the foolish or the wise, there was atheistic thought that far back in time. This essay is inevitably focused largely on the Western tradition, since that this is the one I have studied. But the Eastern tradition is important, China as well as India. The Chinese thinker Confucius urged to give oneself earnestly to securing righteousness and justice among the people, and while respecting the gods and demons, to keep aloof from them. Confucianism has had a revival in China recently, if it ever truly vanished. In ancient Greece, there were an increasing number of clear-cut and philosophical profound statements of atheistic thought or beliefs skeptical of religion. Protagoras was one of the earliest and wrote, about the gods, I have no means of knowing either that they exist or that they do not exist. His most famous words are, man is the measure of all things, of the reality of those which are and of the unreality of those which are not. The method of inquiry by dialogue was pioneered by Socrates and recorded by Plato. Although they were not atheists, the process of proceeding by question and answer was important to skeptical philosophy. Pyrrho was the arch-skeptic who thought that all our evidence came from the senses which could tell us nothing with certainty. Epicurus was a complete humanist who believed in finding contentment and being at peace with the world. He carried out this in his garden where conversation and good company met. He thought terror of the gods was one of our chief fears, but did not himself go as far as atheism. His ideas were passed on by the Roman Lucretius in his long poem De Rerum Natura. His was an entirely naturalist vision. He was aware of the darker side of life from which he thought we should strive to set ourselves free. Can you doubt then that power rests with reason alone? All life is a struggle in the dark. As children in blank darkness tremble and start at everything, so we in broad daylight are oppressed at times by fears as baseless as those horrors children imagine coming upon them in the dark. This dread and darkness of mind cannot be dispelled by the sunbeams, the shining shafts of day, but only an understanding of the outward form and inner workings of nature. This quotation indicates something very important to the march of atheism. We cannot easily banish the darkness, and life cannot easily be lit up entirely by sunbeams. In the flourishing of philosophical thought in ancient Greece lie many of the important early footsteps on the march of atheism. And from here, we shall continue in the next episode again. Thank you.
For more videos, please subscribe to this channel Positive Atheism and activate the bell icon. Please download Samaram multi-channel app and watch your favorite channels from your mobile. App available on Google Play Store and subscribe to the channels.